Hey guys, JHoyt here. Before this video gets started, I just want to say thank you guys for all the support on the channel. I've been seeing your guys' views, your comments, your kind words, and of course all of the brand new subscribers. But we've been telling you guys at the start of every single video, make sure to go down below, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, or if you're brand new here, and if you haven't yet, make sure to go down below and do that. Turn on those post notifications so you never miss an upload, and don't forget, you can always change your mind later. What's on, guys? JHoyt back with you today. Welcome back to episode number 26 of our franchise mode with the Detroit Red Wings. So if you guys missed last episode, right, we had the playoff push, right? We made it past the first round for the first time in a little bit. Unfortunately, though, we came up against the Buffalo Sabres, who ended up winning it all. So a really tough team that got in our way. Now, if they weren't there, maybe we would have had a better chance, but in order to be the best, you got to beat the best. So we're going to try to revamp our team, get some new pieces in here. Not necessarily dramatically change it, but just add in some places that we could definitely improve on once we get into the offseason here. But of course, let's start with the entry-level draft. So before we get into the entry-level draft, we do have some news. One of the players we really wanted to bring back to our team, one of my favorite players, Mark Stone, ended up retiring. So we had a coach retire as well from the AHL. I don't remember what position he was down there, but Stone retired. So unfortunately, we're gonna have to find someone else that fits into that fourth line, you know, really well. And there's a couple of players I have my eye on when I was looking around the league trying to figure out our fourth line. Right, we had a couple of players like Stone and like whoever our centerman was, like McLeod. Those players fit there really well, but unfortunately McLeod's gonna want way too much money. Stone retired. Bennett didn't really fit in there, but we might be able to get him for cheap. But there is a possible trade that I was looking at, so we'll have to get in the entry-level draft. Remember, we have the 23rd, I believe it is, overall pick, and you know, we're gonna try to get in there. So let's go see what we can get in the entry-level draft. So our first trade is from the Buffalo Sabres. And we're going to be going to try to get Ryan Hartman. So he is a fourth line right wing player with not a lot of money attached to him. Right? He's good skating, pretty good defense, and has all around a pretty balanced repertoire with him. He can play left wing and right wing, and he fits on our fourth line and all penalty kill lines, which is huge. He's going to be a pending UFA this year. So we don't have, well, we're going to have to re-sign him, but he probably won't want that much money. So let's try to give up a 7th round pick for him. And of course it goes through. I was hoping that there was some rookie skaters that we could just get rid of, but unfortunately there's none really. So we've been a little bit short as far as the draft goes, but let's go get into our second trade. Our next trade is on your screen now. We're going to be trading to the Los Angeles Kings. So Adin Hill is the goaltender we acquired at the deadline, just kind of for some depth, but ended up taking over our backup goaltender role. So Dostal does want to re-sign with us. Hill does not, just given the contract screen. So we're going to try to trade him over to the LA Kings for Kupari. I'm going to go with $1.6 million. He did not play last year, but he's got good stats all around. And plus, if you look down at that fourth line, or with the Pro Scout assessment, it says the same thing that Hartman did. Fourth line fits in there along with all penalty kills. So I'm hoping that reigns true. If not, he still could be a really good young piece for us. But will this one go through? And it does. So we already have 2 new pieces for our fourth line, and we haven't even drafted a player yet. So the best trade we could get for Micah McLeod, because he's going to want like $6 million or something like that, is actually a 4th and a 7th. This is surprisingly the best trade we could have gotten. But either way, for a player that's not going to want to re-sign with us and we're not going to be able to re-sign, this is a pretty good deal. So let's get to our first draft pick here in the first round. And I believe this is the player that we wanted. It says he's NHL ready. He was a right wing, and he's got all of the good grades across the board. Guy Lafleur, pretty good, similar style for a player. So let's get him. There is one more player that I want to look for, and possibly he's actually on your screen. Benino down here at the bottom, similar. Got all those good grades. So I'm going to try to work a trade for that draft pick once we get up to it and see what happens. But if we can, if this guy turns out how he looks, then I'd be pretty darn happy. Yes! Grinder though. Okay. Maybe we can switch it to a power forward. That might help us out a little bit. But 76 overall. We got elite potential. It is low elite, but it's 76 overall right wing grinder. Hopefully he can turn it into a pretty big piece for us. So we ended up getting that pick that we wanted, right? He's next up on our list and next up on the draft screen. So we traded away a first round pick from way down the line in exchange for this 29th overall pick and a 6th round pick from this year's draft. So we made out pretty good with it. So let's hope that this player will be as good as it shows. Benino, right hand defense spin. Okay, that works. Right, defensive defenseman, 76 overall, top 4, medium potential. That's exactly what we wanted. So let's hope we can keep getting this lucky in the rest of the drafts. So we end up trading forward a couple of positions, 4 to be exact. So we had the 43rd overall pick. We traded up to get the 39th. And that's because of one player down here, Martin Luongo. Good stats all throughout, but you know, this is what we're really interested in, right? Another player with all of the good grades here. I know I'm blocking them, but B's and A's across the board. 2 years ETA to the NHL. So it helps us out, right? Gives us another good prospect down the middle, and we didn't really have to give up much to get him. Is he gonna, okay, so he's a little under what we were hoping for, but either way, 69 overall, elite, low potential center, should be signed probably next year. And we'll see where we go from him. But let's see if we can find anything else. We'll probably scour the trade block as well and see what's happening. So we actually made out super good in this draft. So besides the first, I think, 3 players that we got, if you guys didn't see them or don't remember them, right? We got Benino, one of our great picks, right? This was actually our 2nd pick in the draft. We also got McChesney in this one as our 1st rounder, right? A great overall pick. We'll probably sign both of those guys. We got Luongo. I think that was in our 2nd round. And then also in the 5th round, we ended up getting a 74 overall 17-year-old goaltender from the QMJHL. And he had really good potential. All the grades were like A's and A+. I think they're all A+, with I think 1 A or A- or something like that. So a great pickup for us. Kind of like 4 big picks. And I'm super excited to get those guys signed. But of course, we got to go through the rest. Also, we made another small trade after we paused the video. We ended up trading away, that wasn't cool. Was it Kulikov or Olet? I think it was Olet. Olet and like a 5th or 4th round pick or something like that to some other team for an 83 overall left wing. We'll see him in a second, but he was expiring and they wanted to get rid of him. So we picked him up and it should help us out, right? So we did offer a few guys some extensions prior to the draft. I think only one of them ended up signing, that being Josh Norris. So I think we have him, 2 years? No, 3 years. 3. So it's 3 and 3 for him. But then also, like I said, we got Kapari as the big one here. So I'm hoping okay, so he wants exactly what I want to give him. So let's give him a 2-year contract at 1.5. We're going to wait on Bennett. What does he want, out of curiosity? He wants 2 years at 1.9. We'll wait to sign him just to see kind of what else is out there as far as forwards go, especially since we have Norris there 100%, so he's not going to be able to jump up or a spot or anything. So we have Kapari. Hopefully he re-signs, and then we'll get on to that. For Hagee, same thing. We'll wait and sign him as well, along with all of the AHL guys. So here he is, Karenin. Right now, you wouldn't think they would want to get rid of him, just given that he performed pretty well last year in the NHL, 57 points, but he was on their trade block. So I was like, hey, I will take that guy from you for basically nothing. So we got rid of a penny UFA that we weren't going to re-sign anyway, and then we get this player as well. I'll take that. So we did try to sign Zadina beforehand, by the way. He has not accepted any of our offers. I think it's been a range of 5, 6, 7 years for $9.5 million. He just hasn't signed it yet. So we're going to offer him once again, right? He's been a big part of our team, and he's been kind of holding down the second line for us. So we got Krebs there. Our scene was making a pretty good, push for last year, but we still have him for relatively cheap. So as long as everything goes in, we have 3 really good left wings along with Karen, and if we can sign him, we should be pretty good there. But here's the big question, though. I didn't see an asking price on him. So what did he make last year? So he made $1.1 million last year. What do you want this year? $4 million. So we didn't really give up too much to get him, so I'm not really too worried, but let's try to get him for like 2 years at like $2.5 million. Maybe we try to go 1 year at like 2.5, because once he's ours, right? But just in the meantime, we don't know what he's gonna get. So it sucked to waste, I think it was like a 4th round pick on him, but hey, it was a risk I was willing to take, especially getting rid of him and trying to get something in the process. So Hartman we just got. McIntyre we still have. So we gotta worry about Barron though. What do you want? He wants a massive deal. So I don't feel like he's gonna want to sign a $9 million contract. So I feel like the best option is to send him a qualifying offer, right? Usually once you send him a qualifying offer and we get into free agency, usually that asking price drops a little bit. And then once we get in, like a month in, usually it drops more. And if they still don't sign by the time the regular season starts, by I think it's like September or August 1st or whatever it is. I think it's September 1st. Their asking price usually drops and you can get about what they want. So, but we have his control, right? And I definitely want him for next year. So let's get Hartman under contract here. Wow, you want a big boy contract now. How about a little 1.5 at 1 years, and I will, like I said, focus on all of those AHL guys later. But we do have to sign Mann here at the back end. He's probably going to want a big contract. Not as big as I thought. So let's try to sign Mann to let's go with like a 4-year deal, right? That would take him till he's 29 or 30, right? $5 million. What's his production like? Let's see that first. Okay, so you started pretty good. We drafted him, right? Yeah, 6th overall. So what are we thinking for a contract for him? Right, he has put up some points, and 20 points throughout the last years. I'll take that. Still nothing like we saw in the AHL, but of course NHL is a different beast. So let's try like a 4.5 million at 4 years to start. And then we might end up going up to like 5 or even like 5.5 million. But then we have lots of good young players that are all looking for spots this year. So we're going to have a battle there. Letang, you did really well when you were with us. And that's a really low contract. I really want to. But unfortunately, we have some other players that, we probably want to put ahead of him, unfortunately. Because if we didn't have those players, I'd probably sign him instantly. Just given that of what he brings to the table. But maybe if he's still on the table, later on, then we might end up signing him. But for now, we're going to pass on him. Like I said, we'll focus on those guys later. So we cleared out one goaltender in the process, but we still got to sign the remaining ones here. So I'm probably going to end up trading Bednar just for a younger prospect goaltender, just given that we have basically 5 goaltenders that could all play in the NHL this next year. So I want to, definitely create, their roles like 100%. So Reza, I definitely want you back. Not at that price though. What did you have last year? 4.5. I'm willing to send you that qualifying offer for that. Dostal, you didn't want to sign with us, and you want a crap ton of money. So I probably should have traded him as well, but we're not going to sign him to that. That's just ridiculous. So maybe this is the year that Zanetti gets a chance up there. Maybe Liston gets up there. And like I said, I'm probably going to trade Bednar and, maybe get a different goaltender in there. So we'll have to wait and see what our goaltenders are going to turn out like, but let's advance a few days, get everyone sorted and signed, and let's get into free agency. So here we are at the start of free agency, and unfortunately we had to let a couple players walk just because they did not want to sign a contract with us. So we had to let Karenin walk, and we had to let Hartman walk. Both of those guys, unfortunately, just would not accept a new contract from us. So let's try to see what we're going to get here and what we have available to us. As far as numbers go, we need a pair of fourth liners and another goalie, but really nothing really crazy. So let's see if we can find any bargains. So here we are in free agency, and like I said before, we had to let a couple people walk, and I'm not very happy about it, but either way, we move on as we continue on trying to sign players that make sense. And we have offered, I think we're at number 5, no, we're at 4, but we do have a couple of extensions and our RFAs that have been offered contracts. So on your screen now is going to be the list of players that we have offered contracts to. And it's an interesting list, right? Because Kovanov on the top here is just a really solid deal, right? If we can get him, he fits on our, or maybe he'll fit on one of our lines, and maybe he'll fit in somewhere. But at that cheap, we can always trade him if we need to. Rene here, not really my type of player, right? His stats aren't great, but I'm just kind of looking for a flip opportunity more than anything. And so that's the reason we're trying to get him. A familiar face in Svechnikov. Now he's an 82 overall. He might fit in somewhere. So at really cheap, 800,000. I think we signed him to that 2 years. And then Hartman down here, right? We offered him a contract. He wants $2 million. We offer him 1.5. So hopefully he'll sign with us. And then we still have to find one more forward that fits on our fourth line. And hopefully we can find him somewhere because that's the only really big key of, or big piece that we're missing, I should say. So let's simulate a couple of days and see what happens from there. Here we are in the preseason. And if I told you I did just a little bit of work this off season, I'd be lying. The amount of effort I just went in to make our team as good as possible is rather alarming. So let's show you guys the team first and foremost. So there is some guys that are out of the lineup that normally would be in, but here's going to be the opening night roster, at least for the preseason as it goes now, which the top 9 looks exactly the same, right? Nothing's changing with them. I'm going to try to mix them up, as we go through the preseason and see who plays best where, and give our scene a chance up on that top line with Wright and with Barron there. And I just realized that these guys were actually flip-flopped, but they fit better the other way. So I'm not sure why it did that when I best lines it, but whatever. But same lines, right? Krebs, Larkin, and Barron, Zadina, Wright, and Raymond, Arsene, Norris, and McIntyre, right? He grew a couple of overall from last year, so we're pretty hyped about that. And then our fourth line, right? So you guys didn't see it, but we actually signed a couple of players that didn't end up making it to our roster, right? So one of them down here is Kovanov. I think I said we had signed him. Well, he doesn't fit in our team at all, right? He fits in like the second line, but just given everything, he's probably not going to make it to that second line. Same thing with Svechnikov. He only fits in our second line, so I was hoping they would fit in our fourth line, just kind of give him a chance. So we're going to keep them for now, and maybe down the road we'll do something with them. But like I said, for now we're going to keep them down here. But look down the lineup though. So these are 3 faces you probably haven't seen in a while. Well, Kapari you saw us trade Hill for, but we have a good young player, right? Rudolph Reese here. And if you can tell by all of those line fits, he fits in every single line perfectly. We're all green check marks along that board there. 22 years old. We got him in a trade, I think, a while ago. But I think we actually, was this a player we got in the Lindholm deal? I don't remember, but former first round pick right at the end there. Good face-offs, good kind of overall, you know, everywhere around. Right, puck skills are really good, but everything is kind of pretty good, right? But the most interesting part is, like I said, he's only 78 overall, but that's not really what I'm worried about. So if you look at all this stuff, he fits in perfectly on our fourth line, and we had him in the AHL, and he's been performing pretty good. So why not give him a chance up here on the NHL squad? So Kupari, unfortunately, doesn't really fit in our team as best as that scouting report said, right? He said it fit in what was our fourth line and our penalty kill lines. Now, I believe he does fit in the penalty kill, but not necessarily our fourth line, as he only really fits in our first line. So not exactly sure where those scouting reports came in, but either way, we'll move on. So we have Carter Verhaeghe, right? Player we got a couple years ago now, and we were going to put him in the AHL, and we decided to give him a chance up here on the fourth line. He's been with every single team in the NHL, it feels like. But we want to give him a chance, right? He does fit in most of our lines pretty well. And, you know, for a player that we were probably going to get rid of after this year, or maybe in the middle of this year, he fits in there pretty well. So we're trying to find another player to fit in our fourth line as well through our AHL team. But for now, this will be the lineup as we continue on. But back to the back end, though, it's going to look a little bit different. So now, before you get alarmed, we still have Hanifin, we still have Ekblad, right? We're just trying out some of these guys. So we're putting Lettinen on that first line with Gudis. He grew a whole bunch overall. I think like 3 or 4, maybe even 5 overall. As it is. Our second line remains the same, though. Then on our third line, we got Corrado and Glenn Cross. So a lot of good young players that are looking for spots and are looking, you know, to get into the NHL full time. So those guys are going to kind of see who's going to battle for those spots. But this is where I got real excited here. So back to the goaltenders, right? We re-signed Reza for 1 or 2 years, whatever it was. For 1 year at $3.8 million. But if you look underneath him, Zanetti, right? The franchise goaltender that we got however long ago it was now. We have him under contract, and he's an 85 overall. So I'm really excited about him, right? It's going to be his first real chance in the NHL. And, you know, I'm pretty excited for it. So, like I said, Ekblad and Hanifin are scratched right now. They'll come in later in the preseason. But that's going to be our roster for now, right? Looks a little bit different, but it's still just as good. And once we figure out all the specialty lines and everything, then we'll be sure to have our opening night roster set. And once we get the preseason done, then we'll definitely have it set. So it's a pretty good lineup, right? Nothing really crazy happened. The only thing that really happened was during the offseason, there was a player from Buffalo that was an RFA. He was a defenseman. He was an 85 overall, and Buffalo could not afford to sign him. So they ended up offering us a contract, no, not a contract, a trade offer, which I didn't really like, right? The trade offer just didn't really make sense for us, but we went and offered that RFA a contract at, I think it was like at 2.5 million, at 3 million, and at 3.5. Well, eventually he signed that $3.5 million offer. And in that whole process of trying to figure out what to do with that player, because like I said, we do have a lot of really good young defensemen, we end up trading him. We end up having to spend a second-round pick in order to acquire him from Buffalo. So we end up getting a second-round pick back, along with a couple of fourths, a fifth, and a prospect center. So it was a pretty good deal in the end, right? We get back our pick, plus we add on a couple of picks and a prospect in the entire deal. So, it was a lot of work, but it was a pretty good deal in the end. So, plus it also gets him away from Buffalo. So, it was a great trade nonetheless. I'm very excited to get the season started with our squad. Hopefully those new players that fit into our roster, make up a big difference for us and help out with some of the struggles that we had last year. But with all that being said, guys, that's going to be it for today's video. If you did enjoy, hit that like button down below if you haven't yet, or if you're brand new here, make sure you hit that subscribe button down there as well. Turn on those post notifications so you never miss an upload, and don't forget, you can always change your mind later. But as always, guys, we'll see you in the next one.